Welcome to Game of Roses. This is Pace Case.
This is Bachelor Clues, and we have just concluded viewing the inaugural episode of the inaugural season of the inaugural Golden Bachelorette. Historic, and I don't want to say perfect, but it
was perfect.
After coming off of what we witnessed,
it was
the disaster,
perfect. I didn't even have an error.
I had to make one up, kind of, but I do think it was an error.
I have kind of a joke error.
Mine's not a joke. It really is a play that I think shouldn't have been made, but I don't think it meant anything really in the context of the game. It was just something that I preferred would not have happened. We'll get to it.
Interesting. Was it the shitting joke?
Yes.
The prune juice?
Yes. That was yours too?
No, it wasn't.
Oh.
But just when you said that,
yeah,
I was like, oh, it's gotta be a bodily function.
It's just
we are one mind. No, I have a different joke error.
Okay. Well, we'll get to all of that. Before we do, we have to discuss Devin Strader and what's been going on post Bachelorette season 21, the devastating finale that led us to Devin Strader releasing a 13-minute Instagram reel trying to exonerate himself by putting out text that Jen never agreed to, all the way to now Reality Steve reporting on the restraining order that Devin had and broke back in college.
Trigger warning for domestic violence, stalking, crime, burglary. You can go to, where is this? National Domestic Violence Info Line is 1-800-799-7233 or go to thehotline.org. Online chat has an option for that. And the National Deaf Hotline, 855-812-1001. National Deaf Hotline at adwas.org. I watched this. I watched you reporting on Reality Steve reporting on this after the Golden Bachelorette. And so I was feeling good. Yeah. I got my whole costume together for Golden Bachelorette night 1. I was so excited. And then I was like, okay, I gotta bring myself to watch this. And it was so triggering and horrible. Just each piece of this that it was one of the most complicit I have ever felt. I felt sick. I had to rage clean for a little while before we started doing this. And okay, there was one comment I saw. It's really unfortunate there isn't a universal national database to search court documents unless you are in a law enforcement agency. Even then, some docs aren't always found, especially across state lines. Juvenile cases, civil commitments, and expired protective orders. Congress should really mandate a national database like they do sex offenders. I will just say I agree with this. I think I don't understand what's happening. How did this get how did he get cast on The Bachelorette?
There are 2 or maybe 3, I guess, possible narratives you can look at here. One is the most innocent. They literally didn't know. None of the producers knew about this. He slipped through the cracks. He won the show. That's possible. And
the Instagram likes and the rapping the N-word.
Yes. Possible they didn't know about any of it. It's possible. The casting process for the show is sometimes fast. It can be like just a span of a couple of weeks until they find somebody, have a couple of Zooms with them, and now they're flying out to LA to be on night 1. That's possible. It's also possible they did know about it and hoped it would never come out and put him on the show. And it's possible they knew about it and wanted it to come out, and potentially he would be the type of character in the show that would be a villain. Those are your 3 possibilities.
You think they would have intentionally wanted this to come out? No way.
I mean,
after
I simply
touting
don't
this
know.
as the first Asian American Bachelorette,
I don't know. I mean, I'm just astounded by the fact that he made it into the cast at all. And all the allegations against Marcus that were there. He made it into the cast. Her final 2
finalists.
Yes,
both
exactly.
abusers.
And the fact that the Devin Strader stuff, as Reality Steve reported, these documents are publicly available. They should have known about this. They also, Bachelor Data put some stuff on the application.
People need to be fired.
I guess. What is that going to change? They got rid of Mike Fleiss.
There needs to be something that happens from this.
They have to change the way they're casting the show. I think my personal belief is
1,000% they must.
I don't think that they would have put him on the show purposely.
I don't think they knew either, just because of the incompetence we've already seen in the past.
Yes,
we've seen
exactly.
abusers get through in the past.
Yeah, it does happen
seen the
frequently
show make,
on this show. And this has also happened in Love is Blind. Renee Poche has a lawsuit against Love is Blind right now because they put her in a situation with a guy that she did not feel safe with. I think,
but it largely seems like a Bachelor problem. We're not hearing about this constantly on Love Island. I think they pulled one or two people in the history.
But I think it's also a symptom of like Bachelor's the game mechanics are different in this game. They present at the end of it, it's one couple, this man, this woman. And if that guy or that woman has some shit against them out there, it seems much worse than if like 1 of 10 in a cast of Love is Blind or something has it against them. It's like,
you mean like the spotlight on them.
Exactly. Yeah. That said, Bachelor Data put out a post, I believe today, showing some components of the contract when you sign it. And one of the things you sign is that you are saying basically you don't have a felony and have never had a stalking or a restraining order against you. That's in the contract.
That can't be where the background check ends.
No, and nor is it. They do other background checks, but I think there's no printed penalty for if you go against that. I think if they just added a line in there that says you are liable for $1 million if you lie about this, I think it might deter people who know they have this shit in their background from ever even applying or going far in the casting process. If that's not in there,
they should put it in there.
Exactly. It also is insane to me that Devin Strader thought he could go into this game and make it far and not have this shit come out against him.
No, I mean, it's not a person who is who's doing this.
I agree.
But they might think somehow this isn't going to come back.
No, it's hard. It's like The Bachelor goes through these periods where it's hard to be a Bachelor fan. We are in one of those right now, clearly.
Yeah.
It swings the other way. Sometimes they'll give you beautiful seasons like Charity's season, or Joey's season. And then you're like, oh, it's back on track. And one of these players comes in with, restraining or just all the stuff that was about Devin. And it erases all the good they've done. And all I can do, because I love this game so goddamn much, is keep watching it, keep talking about it, hoping that they change their casting practices, hoping that in some way
it's also a Bachelorette problem,
Totally.
Like, it's men who are doing all of these things. It's men, violence against women. It's I'm really sorry to everybody, anyone who is a Bachelor fan today. Most women I know are, have had sexual violence against them from men. The statistics are staggering. So I understand why it can be hard to cast men.
Yeah. But it's like if they just would have found this, knock him out of the cast. You're down one guy. Who cares? It's like, just find the guy. Basically, this is what I think the Bachelor casting should be doing. You cast your guys, and now you have to find the guy.
Publicly announce the list.
Yeah, publicly announce the list, and don't shoot night one until you find at least one guy in your cast who has something bad against him. Because there's always at least one.
I'm sorry for laughing. Find the guy.
Find the guy. God, you do your casting, then you find the guy, and you kick him out. And at least then...
Find the guy, find the two guys, perhaps.
Maybe. But even if there's two guys, at least you can say, look, we kicked out the other one. We're doing better. We tried.
Yeah.
It doesn't even seem like they're trying at this point. And the fact that there's like crickets coming from the franchise about all of this, just absolute silence, is deafening, to say the least. Now, all that said...
It's disgusting. I think they issued a quote that was in all the articles that's like...
Oh, did they? I haven't read the articles yet.
It's nothing. It's like, oh, that didn't come across in our checks or whatever.
Yeah. Oopsie, sorry. Anyways, here's our next thing. That said, though,
the final two.
Yeah, God, I know. The final two.
And they had the most eyes on them. Who knows?
Yeah, it's bad. Jen Tran's season was unfortunately a disaster. It should have been something that was celebrated. It should have been like her proposing at the end. There were a lot of groundbreaking things that happened in it.
This is one of the darkest moments.
But certainly, it's I think right up there with Matt James's season as just like one of the worst droppings of the ball that they have ever done.
You've put Jen in danger for sure, and they didn't address any of this on the show.
Yeah.
There's tons of people out there who don't know this. They're dating women who don't know this.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Put them in danger too.
Yes, it is a rough time to be a fan of Bachelor, but we are fans of The Bachelor nonetheless, and we must press on. We do have Golden Bachelorette episode 1, which was, again, a fantastic product. And I think it's important to recognize these production teams are different. These are not the same people doing The Bachelor. All that said, there are now some allegations about one of the guys in Golden Bachelorette having stalked somebody's mom or something.
We promise we're going to get to the episode. We just got to get through all the allegations.
No. Well, let's do it, Pace guys. Let's jump into this. Who knows what's going to happen with the allegations that are against one of the players in Golden Bachelorette. We'll be covering that as more information becomes available. At this point, I think it's just allegations. I don't think documents have been provided, but the allegations do seem credible. So we'll see.
Yeah.
Now,
I don't see reasons to make up the allegations.
No, I agree. Totally agree. We'll see what happens.
Let's do this for Joan.
Yes.
I gotta say, just right off the bat, she did an extraordinary job. I cried.
Oh, nice. So did every guy in the show. Literally everyone cried on this episode. It's the first 100% tier play episode we've ever seen.
I mean, is that the greatest night one curveball of all time? So wholesome. Anyway, we'll get to it.
Okay, we will get to it. All right, so we get no teaser. They begin this show right in the meat of it. Opening shot, drone over Malibu, golden high heels next to a mirror. No spoilers whatsoever. Joan's hand is picking out some golden bracelets, putting on some golden makeup. When it rains, it pours. The song comes on. She's getting on her golden dress. She ITM. She's happier than she's felt in a long time. Nervous, but so excited. She steps out on this balcony. Perfect view. Beautifully shot. As she ITM, she hopes she can have 2 great loves in a lifetime. We get some pics now of her and her old husband. They met in 1983. We see their kids being born. She says it was a joyous household filled with love, and John made you feel like you were the only person in the room. Made life fun and made her feel visible every day. The best 33 years ever. Cut to winter. Joan is walking in the snow. Snow is falling. Mood change. One day, they were supposed to go to a lacrosse game, she says. He said he felt bad, and then he was diagnosed with pancreatic cancer, went from 220 pounds to 120 pounds, and Joan ITMs that he was dying, and she was pretending it wasn't happening. She couldn't accept he wasn't there anymore. She ponders out the snowy window. She wasn't there when he actually died. She was out doing something. Tear play. She said some prayers, held his hand, then she had to go tell her son, and she sat in the guest bedroom for an hour, pulling herself together, just this heart-wrenching thing. Then we see her go to his grave in the snow and lay flowers on it. She ITMs that he was a special guy and he made her feel special and safe. Then poof, he was gone. And she says a hawk would fly to the window every once in a while. And she thought that was him. And then while she's at the grave, she points up into the sky. There are 2 hawks flying over the grave. I can't believe this.
That's a blessing.
It's unreal. It's conjuring Kelsey Anderson and her butterfly mother.
Yes.
Which, by the way, later got changed to a hummingbird mother. Did you notice that?
No, it's butterfly. She's wearing a butterfly necklace in this episode.
Yeah, but later Mark says she was a hummingbird. We'll get to it.
Oh,
Joan says she felt invisible.
Stick to the story,
that was
Mark.
the error of the game. No, it wasn't. The music then changes to, from the sad music.
This PTC, almost my play of the game. I was like, Jesus Christ.
It was, but the way they're putting it together too, they're telling you the whole backstory of the PTC and how she's ready to find love. And after she visits the grave, then the music changes. Now they're playing Phil Collins' Take Me Home. This is the 10th song off of his 3rd studio album, No Jacket Required, which spent 7 weeks at number 1 in the US charts and 5 weeks at number 1 in the UK charts back in 1985. This is a certified diamond album. I'm just saying they're spending some money here. I never heard it. And I gotta say, I think this is gonna be their Don't Stop Believin'. I think this Phil Collins song is gonna be in every fucking episode. because it weren't
Don't
cheap.
stop believing. I haven't stopped believing. And guess what? You bet against me, Gary wouldn't be in this season. Guess what? He is.
I
knew it.
I couldn't believe it. I saw him.
Gary's back.
We then
tamed.
get this big family dinner scene that we've seen in all the promos. Her family's wishing her well. They're getting desserts. We see her doing her promo shots. We see some of the guys now getting ready. They're in the back of the limo. Phil Collins kicks in hardcore as Joan is eye-teaming, being nervous and happy. She's Joan, 61 years old, and I'm your first Golden Bachelorette. She comes to the mansion, and this is Villa de la Vina, by the way. We're back. The time-honored tradition.
Back and better than ever.
She says she's ready. Bring on the men. And I wrote in all caps here, this is the best opening portion to a Bachelor product I've ever seen.
We had two creatures I thought were going to be the creature of the week.
Yeah.
The hawk husband and the golden retriever.
Yeah.
Which is, the best animal, a dog.
Mm.
But they're not even my best creature.
We
have the hearing aid prep, so we're keeping that going. And I have personally talked to some Goldens who really loved that golden hearing aid thing.
Mm-hmm.
These things are important.
I agree.
We see, also we get the first Golden Bachelorette stepping out of the limo to greet DLP. And
he's just there. Waiting in the shadows.
Oh, no. Don't
Teeth gleaming, eyes blazing red, ready to devour the souls of
blazing red.
Elder gentlemen. The older the soul, the better the taste.
This is so mean. He is
I'm the mean one.
Fully supporting her.
I'm the mean one.
His eyes were not red.
They were on the show I saw.
No.
I don't know what you're watching.
The show I saw. I don't want to know the show that you see. We see, he says there's going to be 24 of the most eligible senior men. Hope that's true.
Yeah.
Allegationless. Let's see if we get it.
Nope.
We get the first limo exit in the alpha position. One of the most important limo exit numbers. We get Pascal. And he is French. He says he loves an attractive woman and who knows how to present herself. Yeah. I am French. It's okay.
That's your best accent, I think.
Oh,
that one actually, that passes a little bit for French. But he basically says he wants to conquer the heart of Joan.
You sound like my grandma who tried to teach me French.
I want to conquer the heart of Joan. And Joan is like, oh, you have a sexy accent. This was, however, a blandy. We then get Kim, the retired Navy captain. He steps out in his full Navy outfit, taut. And Joan says she loves a man in uniform. And we get our first intro package. He's on a boat in Puget Sound. He says he was on active duty for 27 years. He loved being a captain on a destroyer, divorced in 1998, was single for many years, met another woman, Mary, married her, had 8.5 years together before she passed away. Tear play, first tears right here in the second limo exit. And then he comes out.
Importantly, he has the exact same voice as Captain Lee from Below Deck.
Ah, is it Captain Lee in a suit, in a skin suit? We don't know.
I don't think so. I don't think Captain Lee is this golden.
Okay.
But I was more impressed with him than we were from his still photo.
I agree.
And he does this It Takes Two where he does this little salute with Joan, where they talk about an officer and a gentleman, an homage to whatever that season was, 8 or 10. And
Andy Baldwin. 10.
Andy Baldwin.
I believe.
That was the naval boat season.
Yeah.
We get the third limo exit, and we are packing the front five.
Yeah.
Oh, Lord. Chock.
My name's Chock. I got me an interesting name, and it's Chock. Chock. And he says, he has a little bottle of something. He's got a little mason jar full of some goo. And he says, hey, there's a rumor. You've got famous chicken noodle. And I've made my own chicken noodle soup. It's called Chockin' Noodle Soup. And he makes her eat it.
I thought it was Chocka Noodle.
Chocka Noodle. I thought he said Chockin'. Chockin' Noodle. I don't know. Chock Noodle, Chockin' Noodle, whatever he says.
But he
it's
should
his
sell
name.
this.
I agree. a brilliant product placement. This is a Kringle. It takes two. Then we see a woman limo driver opening the door for our next guy, and this limo driver was my Jorge Moreno, bystander of the week. We didn't have a lot to choose from here. I liked that she was in the shot here as she opens the door for Jonathan, our fourth limo exit. He is a shit.
Lady limo driver who opens the car door. I think might have also opened it for Joan. Was also my Jorge Moreno, bystander of the week.
Very good. Jonathan here, 61. He's from Oakland, Iowa, not California, shipping consultant. He steps out with a blindfold, a golden blindfold, and he says, I'm going to move to the sound of your voice. And he basically says what she said about being invisible at their age resonated with him. She takes the mask off and they hug. He gets an intro package.
We thought this was going to be the motto for her season, and they have double and triple down on the invisible line.
Yeah, the invisible thing is going to be very prevalent. He tells us that he is a bumpkin player, 1,500 people from his hometown. He's there for his kids. His wife divorced him and it blindsided him, and now they have shared custody, and he plays basketball with him. Family comes first. And we see that he's got a few tattoos. Did you notice that on his chest? It's kind of creeping up. Yeah, pretty interesting. Is he a writer? Back at the mansion, they agreed to talk more inside. This was a taut...
Or is he a bird?
We may never know. This is a taut standee. And it takes two. Jordan is up next.
We saw a tiny dog, too.
Oh, that is true. We did. Jordan's up next. 61-year-old sales manager from Chicago. He hugs her. He says she looks incredible. He has to tell her one thing. He's impressed by her selflessness, and that's what brought him there. He mentions her self-elimination and says he has 3 daughters and would leave the show for them just like she did.
Girl dad alert.
Girl dad alert. This is a standee. Joan then ITMs. The guys are nervous, and we get this little nervousness mini montage. Michael comes out with a blandy. Thomas comes out with a blandy. Both nervous. In the mansion, we then get the Bachelorette is hot montage. All the guys agree Joan is smoking, and they're all nervous.
We then get one of my favorite limo exit. This is Charminant Gary. Yeah. He does an It Takes Two. He dances into Joan's arms and gets her dancing right away. You will remember from our breakdown, this is Tina Turner's godson, so he's got talent the bloodline, kind of.
Yes.
And she's loving it. He is going to be a star.
I agree.
You can tell from moment one.
Him and Jack are like vying for biggest personality.
Jack was not a real character.
Obviously I loved him. Just the accent alone.
If there were any person in a full body costume pretending to be a golden man that would have been you, I would have guessed it was Jack.
Maybe one day that technology will exist. We then get Gregg. He has
just a
Kringle.
Ron Perlman mask.
Gregg comes up with a $100 Kringle. We see Pablo has a Blandy. We see
Good way
Bob.
To say he's rich with the $100.
Yeah, exactly. This is just one of millions of dollars I have. Sand dollars. Bob comes in. He comes out with an old school video camera like he's making a video for his kids. This is a prop standee. Then we get Jack. He comes out of the limo singing I Did It My Way. He basically sings the whole goddamn song to her, and we listen to it all. And then he says, it's a pleasure to meet you. You do things your way. I do things my way. If we get together, maybe we could do things our way. So that's a standee. And he ITMs that he thinks she liked the singing. And just that.
Isn't this a song they played at someone's inauguration?
Fuck, I don't know. Is it?
I think so.
Oh, you're saying someone...
It triggers me.
Who shall not be named.
Shall not be named. He's in a salmon jacket, by the way, which has a rich history in our game. So love that little thing. I mean, this man is a reader.
Yeah.
Let's be real.
He comes into the house and he goes, did somebody say bourbon? I don't know what accent I'm dipping
Every
into
room
now.
I enter from now on, I'm going to say this.
Exactly. And all the dudes are laughing, and you immediately know this is like the life of the party. And he just keeps compounding it. His second audience game is like, I've never seen anything quite like it.
And his little phrases. I wrote immediately after this intro, MVP vibes.
Yeah.
We see He then gets everyone to sing along with him to his song, doubling down, working on that second audience right away. Love it. We get the next portion. Great jokes from some of these guys. A lot of testosterone in the room, but not as much as there would have been 40 years ago. LOL. And Pascal's like, speak for yourself.
God,
testosterone.
They're hilarious. All these guys are super funny. We get Charles L. He comes out and he says, I'm 66, but I look 36. Like immediately hilarious. He gets an intro package where he talks basically about his wife that he was married to for 36 years, first and only love, but she passed away. He couldn't take it, and his daughters want to see him happy again back in the mansion.
He exudes for TRR, this man.
Oh, absolutely. And he has a little joke here. Charles not in charge. Do you know what that's a reference to?
No.
There was a TV program in the 80s starring Scott Baio called Charles in Charge.
This was a reference?
Yeah, to an old TV show. Joan got it.
Whoa.
They're old enough to get it, as am I.
Yeah.
I guess I'm closer to Golden than I am to Gen Z at this point.
Look, I wouldn't get it if it was a current reference.
Guys next. 66, Reno, Nevada. She says, you're very handsome. As soon as he steps out of the limo, I think this is a good sign. He says he's Guy. I'm 66 and an ER physician. As a physician, I can make diagnoses off smell alone. He has some cologne, and he says, when you smell the scent,
I thought he was going to smell her at this point.
Yeah, I thought they were just going to do some deep
lift
sniffing.
up the skirt.
Yeah. Oh my God.
Sorry.
You've got a clean bill of health. This is an It Takes Two / Standy. We then move. Oh, and he also ITMs that it went well and he got butterflies. Yes.
First
loads of love
level.
level 1. Unreal. This is in the first 10 minutes of the show. We've got a loaded love level 1.
He also has, I recently read a description of my grandfather that called him lantern jawed. And I thought, this man is also lantern jawed. Jaw like a lantern.
Yeah, he's got a very chiseled kind of his name's Guy. He's very masculine looking. Charles K is next.
What would you call this one? It Takes Two? Yeah.
It Takes Two Standy. Because he had a prepared line about the physician sniffing out diagnoses.
Oh, right.
We then get Charles K shows up. He's got a cane and he's pretending to limp. He pretends to fall down and then he does 10 push-ups and then he spins the cane. This is a prop Standy. Jack ITMs.
Very impressive physical feat.
Yeah.
Here.
I don't know that I could do that at this point. Jack then gets his first colorful narrator ITM. Oh my God, this guy is doing push-ups on the frickin' floor.
I mean, he needs to be narrating some show.
I agree.
It's like the first season of Alone, and one of the guys is so funny, and then he becomes the narrator in season 3, and you're just like, oh, of course.
Yeah, I agree. I think Jack needs a podcast. If the producers are listening and you're going to do
he needs a podcast.
Yeah.
Tastes
get him
like
on Golden
mother.
Happy Hour.
Tastes like restaurant. Wait, I got my grocery-isms mixed up.
Yeah. Now, you just came out of the most recent season of Bachelorette. Did anybody ever restrain an order? Something like that. Ken then shows up. He says he's from Boston and she looks wicked awesome. That's a little bit of a Standy. Jack gets another ITM
They're getting
here.
quick pops, though. Not good for these guys.
They're all trying to get her attention. And in the old days, they used the gauntlet, giving the girl the eye. So he's openly talking about gaze play here, an astute player. We see Dan. He comes out wearing glasses and says, dang girl, look at you. Takes off the glasses then. I give this a prop Standy.
I said It Takes Two. Oh, wait, he's the prune juice, right?
No.
Oh, it's
That's coming up. Jack then ITMs that he feels no pressure. I think she liked my singing. I got to go with the flow. Christopher then shows up. He says, this is irregular, what they're going through. So he brought some prune juice. So everything will run well by the end of the evening. This is an It Takes Two, Standy Kringle, and it was also my error of the game. I just don't think you ever want to bring up shitting.
No.
Especially not on a first impression, especially not in any kind of romantic capacity. unless you're both into that romantically and you have foreknowledge of that.
It's giving Christopher got by the third audience producers and convinced him to do this joke.
Unless he's
you want your limo exit. Sometimes it can be the only time you're spending with the lead. It needs to convey something about yourself and not, unless maybe you're like a colon doctor or something.
Even
like,
if you are, you never bring that up. I'm a doctor.
Yeah. You want people to feel good.
Yeah. What kind of doctoring do you
around
do?
You?
I'm in the health and wellness space. That's all you say. You're not telling anybody
about... If
about...
Golden had said I'm in the health and wellness space, I would have died.
I just don't think you want to have like deep conversations immediately when you meet the person about buttholes or shit or any of that. Just my 2 cents. That's more of like a second date.
Yeah, I think avoid the holes.
I agree. RJ's up
next. We get RJ, who does literally the line that's in his ABC bio.
Yeah.
6'5", finance, blue eyes. I called this a standy Kringle because he brought some flowers, which were not addressed.
I did
and
as well.
We start to get this brotherhood play, which I'm loving. It is just what we got from the Golden Bachelor of all of the women bonding. Yeah. We're getting people being like, oh my God, we got some really great guys.
Kim literally ITMs that he's impressed with his, in quotes, brethren. I thought that was an interesting use of the word.
Brethren.
Haven't heard that word in ages. Gil then pops out here with a standee. It takes two. He tosses her a baseball and says, I heard you were a great catch. Bill then comes out with a blandy. He's the retired videographer. Just asks about how her daughter's doing. I thought that was, as far as blandies go, a pretty good blandy. And then back inside, all the guys are talking about what their grandkids call them. Kim is ITMing that Joan's got her work cut out of her because there's no shortage of stallions in the stable from which to choose. I mean, this dude is spinning some language. I'm enjoying it.
Oh, yes. Kim is a poet. And he produces tears upon hearing the conversation about I'm Pop Pop and people's grandkids, what they call them.
Yep.
And right after the stallion line, we get the 20-second limo exit. David, who does a grandy on a horse. And then this horse runs away. And this grandy, self-eliminating horse was strutting its stuff away from Villa de la Vina because it felt the bad vibes that were going on. And it was my creature of the week.
This
I'm out of breath.
Stallion that sprinted away from the mansion as soon as his job was over because he no doubt heard about what was happening with Devin Strader was also my creature of the week. The horse is always
absolutely related to Devin Strader.
You might be able to see behind me, there's an equine statue, and that was procured from Villa de la Vina itself. And I will always give my creatures to...
That might have been the horse it was based on.
Might have been. Our 23rd limo exit is Keith. He is another grandee. He comes in a station wagon, kind of... have you ever seen Vacation? National Lampoon's Vacation? Chevy
It did
Chase?
remind me of that, yes.
Yeah, I think it was modeled after
suitcases.
that.
Yeah.
He plays cornhole. He says he gets an intro package. Cornhole. He's 6'5", 240.
What his cornhole nickname is?
Oh, God. Gonzo?
Gonzo.
Hell yeah.
When he plays bags, his name is Gonzo.
They got a Frenchman in here. They got a guy who has Gonzo on his cornhole bags.
I couldn't believe Gonzo did not bring bags as his limo exit.
I know. But he got to him a little bit later, though. Right?
Yeah.
What's that?
He did use it in his mini date, right?
Yeah, his mini date.
Oh, thank God.
In his limo, or in his intro, sorry, we see that he is playing golf. He leads with his heart. He's been the sole parent for his kids for the last 2 years. Addiction with his ex-wife is what ruined the relationship, and he's trying to move forward in his life now. He's anxious. He's nervous. Back at the mansion, he's like, we can take the station wagon to the beach. Beautiful grandee.
Nice future casting.
Yeah.
And we then see a couple of the guys are watching. It's a comedy duo, Gary and Pascal. I'm like, of course they have these two go out and do this peeping Tom. What an entrance. And they're just like appreciating the spectacle. And DLP comes out and he says, well, there's still one very important limo to arrive, and it's coming right now.
And we get
we didn't need this, but it's a good build up to what we see here.
We see the limo pull up, the door opens, it's a woman that steps out, but no ordinary woman. This is, of course, Kelsey Anderson, the ring winner of Bachelor Season 28, Joey Grazie Day. And she's there to say, it's surreal, good to see you, Joan. I thought maybe you'd like my dad. And Mark Anderson, the Omega limo exit, steps out. He's 57 from Leesville, Louisiana. They hug, and he gets a full intro package, walking around talking about his 5 children, including Kelsey, who explained what thirst traps are to him. He didn't know.
So
until
funny.
she had to explain it. Yeah, he's great. And he said the topic
he got
of
10,000 Instagram followers from that time when we were going through his Instagram.
That's fucking wild. He brings up the whole PTC that we already know from Kelsey, that his wife died in 2018. She'd always tell him to move on and find somebody, but he knows what perfect is, so it's hard. She filled his heart completely, produces
crushing.
tears. She is still there, but there is room. It's hard to date. We see him grooming his beard. Kelsey told him to be himself, and he's excited. Back at the mansion, he says, as a father, he wanted his children to experience life, not to say no to taking a chance. Now here he is taking a chance for himself to find love again. They hug. This is a rare sidecar.
And a beautiful summary of like kind of his story.
Yeah.
It also kind of gives him an out if he's like, I know what perfect is. So I just can't accept, not perfect. And still be open to next lead. But being the only man under 60 years old, it does feel like, and giving him the Omega limo exit, it does feel like they are giving him a big prop up to be the next Golden Bachelor.
Absolutely.
But there's some competition.
Oh, that dude wasn't kidding when he was like, there's some stallions in here. These dudes are all like just top tier players, top tier personalities, top tier players. Joan comes in to give her inauguration speech. She says she knows how much they gave up because she did it to do the experience as well. And it changed something in her. She came here looking for love, not thinking she deserved it. Gary made her feel visible again, hitting that invisibility motif again. And she left feeling that she needed love and she hoped she would find it. It's a crazy journey, but she thinks it could work. She can't wait for the journey to start. And Pascal's like, neither can I. Come with me. And he takes her immediately. She doesn't even get the last syllable out of her mouth.
This inauguration speech was very
impeccable.
Good.
Absolutely
very
perfect.
Good.
And then we get the Pascal intro. So I
love this first responder by Pascal.
It was fantastic. But we also
She was still talking.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like the last syllable was trailing out and he's like, come with me.
There was not even a cheers.
Yeah.
I don't know if we've seen a first responder that first.
No, he was in it to win it. And it looked like he didn't even understand the game, which I also find interesting. We'll get to that when the FIMP comes out. But we then get a Pascal intro, which usually they have these during the limo exits. I don't know that we've seen them past limo exits. But we see here that he's in a hair salon that he owns. He's comfortable with women, he says. He works out. He can travel. He drives an Aston Martin, it looks like. Am I crazy? Did I see that right? It's an expensive car.
It's a gray car.
A beautiful house, he says, and he wants to have a partner to share his life with. He wants to see if they have chemistry. We then get this one-on-one time where he basically says, I'm from Paris. I came to Chicago when I was 22. Now I'm successful in my med spa and my beauty salon. And he asks her what she's looking for. She says a kind man and a gentleman, which I can tell you already are. And she's ready for an adventure. And he's like, yes, I'm spontaneous. We go on a 4-day trip to Paris. How does that sound to you? And she's like, I love it. He also loves her family
We literally
values.
already saw her future casting about how she was supposed to spend a month-long trip in Europe with her old husband. And I think we're gonna see her do it. I think we're gonna, and maybe Bachelor will pay for it. They should just start paying for all the things for the leads.
Yeah, they have to go to Paris so that he can show her around, whether it be a hometown or some kind of European thing.
He's making the travel around, this man, and he gives her something that He says, when I left on Father's Day, you know, I love your family values. That reminds me, when I left on Father's Day, my son gave me this letter. You need to read it. She can't because she has glasses, so he reads it out loud. And it is so supportive. You're going to kick ass. I believe in you. You know, here's the greatest advice you've given me. I love you. From your difficult son, Funny. Yep. And this mini date Kringle was my play of the game.
Ah, okay.
I loved it.
Yeah, Joan definitely.
I thought Pascal did so well all over this whole episode, but
I did too. Joan ITM, she's been wooed by a Frenchman, and maybe there is a more in their future. And then he promises to pamper her from head to toe. Then
a bump of you.
Yeah, you will be pampered. Then Pascal in portion 5 is telling the other guys how easy she is to talk to. Charles L asks him if he should prepare, and Pascal gets this whole run now. He's like, no, I did not prepare. I don't think you, well, maybe you need to prepare, but I don't need to. And then he's getting shit for his accent. And he's like, I go back to France 2 times a year to keep the accent.
I love that.
They're all fucking hilarious. They
start talking about who has a fake hip, who's a girl dad.
They're great. I mean, I will say I was like a little curious about kind of the demeanor, the temperament of the guys in Golden Bachelor. Just right out of the gate, they're blowing it out of the water. It's so, they were just like fun to watch.
We knew we'd get dad jokes, but they're actually funny. Yeah,
exactly. They're actually funny. And they seem to actually like each other. Like it does feel like they're all there just having fun and like, we'll see what happens. That vibe is what you want.
So fun. Time will tell, mon amour, mon ami.
We get some one-on-one time with Dan.
I'm sorry.
She says he was one of the people she remembered. He's like, we're all a little nervous, but you've been here before. And he says when he saw her, it made him nervous because she's a vision, so sparkly. She asked him how he came to the show, and he's like, it's my daughters that got me into it. My oldest daughter was adopted. He ITMs that he's been a single dad, for 14 years. He tears, and he says his kids are mentors to him now. They're his world. And he tries to keep himself from crying and gives this beautiful eyebrow raise, half smile. That was my
face play of the game.
He tells her also that he's a girl dad. First use of girl dad.
I think this was my runner-up face play. Oh. We get this whole scene where Joan and who is it, Gregg or Dan are in Hawaiian shirts.
That's Gregg. And they're in the shirts sipping drinks.
Then we get a quick pop. She's playing golf with Gil.
Baseball. He was the guy who threw her the baseball. I can only assume he's got something to do with like some pro baseball team or something. I have no idea. Then Charles K, they're racing on these like a little scooter and some kind of other weird device that looks like the producers made.
Chair thing?
Something, I don't know. Something that he probably used in his limo exit that we didn't get to see or something. We don't know. Then we get Gary in some one-on-one time. He's ITMing that this is a powerful experience that fills him with hope. And he even ITMs about her gaze play, looking in their eyes. The guys then have a chat about how they're all nervous when they first met her.
And that he got her phone number. Which we didn't see in the document, but got the phone number on the hand. Love this move by Gary.
And it's also a move that's like, remember what it was like to talk on the phone. These generations, they don't do that. They're like, you don't have to get the phone and have the cord sticking out under your door and all this shit.
No, we don't answer the phone. We run away.
Exactly. Nobody wants to talk anymore through that device. Then we see one-on-one time with Jordan. He apologizes for what he thinks is an atrocious entrance. He says everyone's mind goes blank when they step out of the limo. We get a lot of that. Then he says he has 3 daughters in Chicago, pulls out a Kringle.
I like Jordan, but I wouldn't have apologized.
I agree. Never apologize unless you're Devin. It's a sweatshirt with a hot dog and a pizza slice that says Chicago style. It's a sweatshirt with a hot dog and a pizza slice that says Chicago style. And he brings up pickleball. They play a little pickleball in the driveway. And he ITMs that she's genuine and he thinks he's rectified his bad limo exit. Then the producers send all the other dudes out to peep. They take over the mini date. And it's a pickleball storm. There's thousands of pickleballs flying through the air. Joan's almost getting hit in the head with pickleballs.
I loved it.
Absolutely insane. I loved it as well. I thought
I feel like
worked well.
pickleball has swept the nation and especially the Golden Nation. And so I
agree.
love just this chaos. And it seemed like it was set up because they had a ton of rackets and balls and shit. There's one guy who's like, that wasn't pickleball. I loved that.
Yeah, exactly. That was Gregg. He's like, I'm from Florida, where pickleball is a religion. This was not pickleball.
Gregg is low-key funny.
I know. High-key funny is Jack in this next segment. He's roaming the grounds of the mansion. They got a freaking...
I think they just told him. They were like, just go around and say shit about shit.
Absolutely they did. He's ITMing, enjoying every bit of the mansion. He can't wait to jump in the pool. We get to do that, right? You jump in the pool, right? That's a for use pool, right? That's not just for looks, right? He's like, he wants to make sure he's getting in that pool. He calls the living room a hippie den.
I'm going to get to go in the pool before I leave, right?
He's just like, he finds a bunch of candles on this wall and he's like, I'd say we got about 72 candles up there. He's never seen anything like this.
We don't see people I Love Clevelanding the mansion
ever
anymore. That's not a thing that happens. And so, and they obviously made them do it because then they have Charles do it too.
Yes.
He's like, is this a real pot? I love that.
He's turning on the oven, like the flames come out. He's like astounded that this isn't a movie set or something.
Yeah. He's just like, oh, they're gonna give us real food. Oh,
yeah. He opens the fridge. He's like, there's a lot of meat in here, and then he ITMs that it's beyond his imagination. I'm like, is it? I don't know. It's just a house.
When Jack is counting candles, he says, I think I saw something similar to this in Mexico, but nothing even close.
Yeah.
Love that. Just ominous
He's been in
stories
some
about
mansion.
Mexico.
Yeah. Tell me your Mexico stories, Jack. One-on-one time with Kim is up next. He tells her she looks fantastic. He talks about her leaving the show early for her family, and that's important to him too. He had to meet her. He's thrilled to meet her in person. If it weren't for her, he wouldn't be there. We saw a couple of those I Am Only Here For You plays, and he ITMs that she's maybe going to find her prince among all these frogs. We see Bob. He says he got hit by lightning in their one-on-one time while surfing with his kid, and he was dead for 12 minutes. This is an NDEPTC. I mean, we've seen a couple of these, maybe. Somebody else had an NDEPTC.
Yes, somebody had
I don't
this.
remember who it was. But
I would not play it on night one, Bob. What are we doing? You're in it for the long game.
I agree. And this opens
play
you
it
up
later,
for such a
talk
bigger
about how it
conversation.
affected your perspective towards your daughters.
Perspective
how
towards
it made
your
you a
daughters.
better girl, dad.
This motherfucker left the earth and went into another realm. What did you see? What's there after we die, Bob? Tell me the answers, Bob. That's what I'm looking for on that one-on-one
Put
date.
that in a parasocial play, Bob.
Something.
We need to know what's
Jesus.
after.
Yeah. He got
Tell
to
us.
talk to infinity. Tell me the answers, Bob. He ITMs that he got a second chance
I
at
really
life.
feel like he should have held this back, and maybe he thought he had to leave it all on the table night one, but
Yeah, he's like, I got hit by lightning. I died for 12 minutes. This is how my wife died. I have this many kids. This is what's in my bank account.
maybe
Nice to
lightning
meet
will
you.
strike twice.
Yeah, here's a sand dollar. That wasn't him, though.
Do I get a kiss? Here's a sand dollar.
We see then Guy gets some one-on-one time. He's ready to meet someone and live his best life. He ITMs that she made a significant impression on him. We see some one-on-one time with Mark. She says, people fell in love with you. Talking about on when he was the dad in the hometown for Kelsey Anderson. And he ITMs.
He says meeting her felt like putting on fresh, warm sweats from the dryer. Ooh, cozy.
I don't know if I've ever done that. One-on-one time with Jonathan
You
is next.
haven't?
I don't
Yeah,
think so.
lived
I don't really have
clues. You
sweatpants.
got to do that before we see what Bob saw.
Okay, I will. Jonathan then says the moment that she took off his mask and he saw her eyes, his mind went blank. That's some strong gaze play. That's Grazie Day level gaze play.
Yeah.
He says he thinks they're kindred spirits. They both feel invisible. And he says, I wrote you a poem. And she's like, well, you better have brought it. And he says, yeah, it's in my heart. And this man stands up and recites the following poem. It's short, it's sweet. And if you really like it, I can repeat. As my heart is full of bliss, standing here in front of you. So now what do I do? Take your hand, be your man. And I hope you understand that I'm grateful and blessed to see you in that dress.
This poem by Jonathan, I actually forgot about, and it was actually my play of the game.
Okay.
I loved this. In terms of when I'm talking about next crown, Jonathan to me is a lock for hometowns and a potential next crown.
Yeah. Then we see DLP emerges from his dark resting place and brings with him the first impression rose. He sets it down on the table. Not every guy knows what this is. Pascal needs it spelled out for him. What does this?
Do you think Pascal really doesn't know what this is?
I do believe that, yeah. What is first rose? What does first rose mean? This is give to one she liked the most? Now I don't even know what I'm doing with these accents. I've gone off the rails. I can't do this.
You can't think about it. You got to just let it come out of your mouth.
Let it flow. Okay.
And this moment where DLP puts down the first impression rose and Pascal starts asking questions about it. For the third audience, not having DLP and Pascal speak to each other in French here was my error of the game.
Interesting.
Missed opportunity.
That's interesting. I think they will definitely have them speaking to one another in French at some point. We begin portion 7.
Why not as much as possible? Why don't we get that?
I don't know. Jack is in the kitchen cooking. He's cooking rice and sauce for tenderloin. He's not just cooking hot dogs like we saw in Jason Mesnick's season. He's cooking a legit, 4-star meal here. He hopes Joan's going to enjoy it. Charles L. is eating food standing next to him, and he's like, if you have any questions on how to cook that, let me know. I thought this was hilarious.
Well.
Chock ITMs that he wants Joan to keep Jack in the game
hilarious like Gregg.
Chock calls himself a big hungry guy. And then we see this one-on-one time with Jack. Jack brings 2 plates of food he just cooked. He lays out this complex meal and he ITMs that he's hoping for a rose tonight and he's trying to make a good impression for Joan. He cooked, he sang. These are the 2 things he's good at. He sets it down and she likes the meal. And Jack cooking this 2-person meal by himself was my play of the game. I've never seen anything like this ever in the game. Have you? On a night
We've seen a lot of cringled food in a mini date. Yeah. But this was such an elaborate meal. Here, I'll tell you why this wasn't one of my 2 plays of the game.
Okay.
The timing of it.
Yeah.
I would have withheld this for a little later. It makes me think Jack doesn't think he has what it takes to get through night 1. I don't know. I go back and forth because it's a very good first impression.
Yeah. It stood out to me as oh shit, this guy is doing, it's just a play I've never seen, Yeah. And it did go over well, I think. He obviously didn't get the FIMP or anything like that, but it was, I don't know, it was mind blowing to me.
But he was the star of the episode.
I mean, one of them, yes. Then we get one-on-one time with Charles L. He pours her some tea and she ITMs that it warmed her heart. Christopher, they opens up chocolates. Michael, he bought a book of pictures of gardening, pictures of his flowers.
I do remember we saw some beautiful flowers on his Instagram.
I do too. It brought me right back to it. We see one time with Keith. They play cornhole and they agree that they both love it and they want to live by the beach. This cornhole thing was almost my play of the game.
Gonzo at the beach. We can play bigs.
He doesn't have an accent.
But I'm doing Jack doing the podcast about the show.
Okay. My apologies.
Yeah. I'm not doing Gonzo, obviously.
Yeah. Joan
By the
basically.
Way, speaking of Gonzo, aka Keith, you predicted this, that there were 2 6'5" men and only one would stay, and you were right.
You can only have one tallest guy. Can't have 2
Pretty
tallest
impressive.
guys. Simple math. They have a long conversation here where they agree that finding love is not easy. And he says he was very nervous. Yeah, you can be nervous at this age, but life is too short. You got to experience new things. And he says the conversation is more his vibe than the limo exit, much more comfortable. And he meant everything he said about the station wagon beach talk. And Joan says that's her happy place. Keith then ITMs that she's so easy to talk to and it was fluid and easy and natural
Bring
when
the
he saw how
station
she looked.
wagon to Europe.
Probably.
Bring those bags to the beach.
He says he saw how she looked into his eyes and he felt a special connection. That's a loaded love level 1. The guys all theorize about who they think is going to get the FIMP. Chock ITMs that he's been turtling so far. Chock needs talk. Chock needs talk now. Chock ain't going to turtle. Not on this night. I don't know why that's Chock to me, but it is. Chock gets an intro
Chock
here.
definitely refers to himself in the third person. I think we established this during our rookie breakdown.
Come with Chock for a walk and
Someone
talk.
says each guy should get their own petal of the FIMP, kind of like in Mean Girls with the crown. I love that. So for TRR.
But that ain't the way the game works. We see Chock's
And then
intro.
we get intro Chock.
He got a dog. He got a dead fish. He says he had some success, had some kids, but he's lonely. He says his mom has stage 4 cancer. This is a big PTC. She told him to go and do this.
PTC
live
and
life.
semi-sabbatical.
Yeah, that's true. His mom told him, you've got to embrace it because if you don't, it's going to go right by you. Then we get one-on-one time with Chock. This is Chock Talk.
Ain't
He
that
asked
the
her-
truth?
Believe me,
Chock Talk.
at these 48 advanced years, I am feeling it. He asked her to tell him
I thought
about
you
her
were
family.
62.
I'm 64. He asked her to tell him about the family. They compliment each other's eyes. This is open gaze play speech. And they say their kids have brown eyes. They have blue eyes, similar in color, but their children have brown eyes. They talk about their dogs. His dog's name is Super Tubbs. Her dog's name is Holly. He talks about his kids and says his 24-year-old daughter was the one that signed him up for Golden Bachelorette, and she's looking for someone to have adventures with. He wants to go on a safari. She wants to go on safari, and he's like, I did it last year, and I'm going back this year. I Chock climbed Kilimanjaro. My bucket list is finding love.
It's now called Chock Rock.
I love this play by Chock to be like, wait, your dream is to go on a safari? I've already got one booked. Even if it isn't booked, just say this.
Absolutely. That's correct. Chock ITMs that he was a little nervous, but he felt a little butterfly. He was mesmerized by her. That's a loaded love level 1. She comes in, picks up that FIMP, leaves the FIMP room, never sit in the FIMP room. You know you're not going to get it if you're in it. Portion 8 begins. She walks past some other dudes outside, does not give them the FIMP, and then she goes...
says walking by you too.
Yeah.
Horrible.
Sorry, just walking by you.
Cringe.
Tee-hee-hee. But she does come to find one Keith sitting alone by a fireplace, and she says the station wagon reminded her of her childhood. He made her feel safe. It felt easy to her, and the beach talk got her. She gives him that FIMP, and they seal it with a kiss. That's the first kiss of Golden Bachelorette history. Keith gets it.
Ooh, yes. That first kiss is Gonzo. And the guys all congratulate him, which I thought was really cute.
Yeah.
Someone yells, I lost a bet. I laughed out loud.
Mm-hmm.
And
we get the curveball of the night. Is that what you were about to get into?
I thought the curveball was going to be Kelsey Anderson.
I did too.
I was wrong.
Yeah, this was a great curveball, I thought. DLP,
This is one of the best curveballs they've ever done.
he materializes from the dark, evil nether that is seeping in through the basement of Villa de la Vina, and he wheels in a TV. She comes in, Joan comes in and sits down with all the guys. They turn on the TV, and it's videos.
And Pascal goes, oh, what is that?
Yeah, what is this, television? They play all these
I don't know
videos.
what anything is.
They play videos of various family members of all the guys. We see Pascal's son, Charles L's daughter, Dan's daughter, and Dan plays Tears here. Charles K's son. We've got Jordan's daughter and her girlfriend.
Also, DLP says a lot of handsome in here. Love that.
Yeah. There's a lot of handsome in here. That's how he sounds to me now. I will still buy his clothing though. I think I'm going to get some for
What
my
are you
dad
buying?
actually. I think I'm going to get something for my dad with Kansas State logos on it.
Cute.
Yeah.
They got that.
I think you can
They
get
got
any
real
logo,
logos?
any college or pro logo sewn into
What?
whatever the design is. Yeah, I think so.
DLP. Oh, by the way, thank you to everyone who sent me the beautiful clip of DLP doing his other job.
Oh my God.
I don't know what sport it was. I'm guessing football. And he is roasting this guy in the stands who has a mustache. It was so gorgeous. And it was just more evidence to me that DLP, he's a student of humanity. He can read situations because of his strong empathy. And he's also hilarious. He was being so funny. So thank you.
I'm speechless. My mind just went blank.
Did you see that clip?
Yeah, I saw the clip where he's just relentlessly making fun of some poor kid in the stands about how he's friend zoned. He's not dating anyone in that frame. Okay.
But he has a partner who is off screen.
Yeah.
That's implied.
Okay. See it as you will. Anyways, we see a bunch of these guys dropping tears. The guys are all supporting each other. Joan is noticing the support. She cheers us to all of them. And portion 9 begins. The guys are all waiting for the rose ceremony. We see somebody's ITMing about, I'm tired. I have jet lag and it's almost the morning. I'd be asleep by now usually. Chock ITMs. I'm sizing up those other guys. I have to have a rose tonight. And then we get a military style drum score. Joan enters. She gives her speech here. Since she's been chosen as Golden Bachelorette, she's been looking forward to this moment and also dreading this moment. If you leave, you've already won because you've shown the world that you have heart and you're looking for love in your golden years. Yeah.
When the guys were all producing tears and Joan says, I'm so honored you're here. I see what you left. I produced my first and only pace case tears of the night.
Wow. That gotcha.
Mm-hmm.
Wow, that's pretty good. It was
Golden
a great
gets
speech.
me almost every time.
You cried at my Golden Years song. She basically says that
I was getting roasted for that. Sorry, I'm an empathetic queen. I can empathize with people who don't even exist.
Damn, that's a skill. This speech I thought was great. She basically says, if you get kicked off, I hope you find love out there, and you've already won the game basically by just being here. We see the rose ceremony. Dan gets that first flower.
I thought she was going to do a benevolent no rose ceremony for a second.
Oh, that would have been interesting. Dan goes first. He gets the first flower. Then Jonathan, Mark, Guy, Charles K, Gil, Gary, Pascal, Chock, Kim, Christopher, Gregg. And then Joan leaves the rose ceremony. She needs a moment to herself because it's getting to her that she's getting to the point where it's like, shit, I'm about to have to eliminate some guys. Portion 10 then begins.
Roses, Joan.
She comes back in and she's like, I appreciate all you being here. It's harder than I thought it was going to be. And she continues on. Charles L is number 13. Jordan, Bob, Michael, DLP materializes. Final rose tonight. Jack gets the final rose. Of course, we knew he was going to. There's no way they're letting that guy get away from the show, even if she hates his guts.
That was false stakes to put him last. Come on.
Absolutely. They just ruined his rose quotient for no reason.
Come on.
DLP delivers the
his
tam
rose
sig.
quotient. All clues sees.
That's all I see. Take a moment, say your goodbyes. We say goodbye to Bill, David H., Ken, Pablo, Ralph, and Thomas. Your suffering was savored and you will be remembered. You have already won. Remember that. Joan told you that. And then Joan ITMs that
Guy produces tears here.
Yeah.
So for TRR, I love
in
that.
the risers. Tears at simply being acknowledged, at simply getting another moment in the game. This is a true player.
And saying goodbye to his buddies. See you on the other side, he's saying. Goodbye. Goodbye.
Don't worry, I'll be all right. Joan
Look at what you're doing
toasts
to my brain. Oh my God.
Now I'm turning your brain into my brain. This is how I live. It's just constant, a hurricane.
You're Dorian Graying me, clues.
My brain is like that pickleball match when all the guys are out there just pickleball is flying around, but each of those is an idea.
Want that. I don't want my brain to be like that pickleball match.
Fun. It's fun.
No.
Trust me.
Something happened. Oh, this is probably my scream for the week, but
yeah, I
have too many. We had our Minneapolis engagement party this weekend, and there's some picture of me laughing, and I go like full up like that, like I've thrown my head fully back, and I realized that I just do that when I laugh now because I don't want to like blast the mic with my
nice
horrifyingly loud laugh.
Yeah, it happens. Then we get this season on the Golden Bachelor. They're jumping off boats, roller coaster, second chance at love could be as good or better than the first one. Kickball, bowling. Jack is there for the I wrote cannon calls. I don't know what that even is. I think that's a
cannonball.
Cannonballs. Yes, he does a cannonball. Striptease, dancing, vineyards.
I thought this was I think you should leave reference. He's just here for the cannonballs.
Yeah, I
Like,
think
he's
they were
here for the
talking
zip
about.
line?
Yeah, exactly. He's just there to jump. We just saw this not that long ago on a Bachelor season when somebody was backflipping into the pool and somebody's like, "This ain't spring break."
Yeah.
Remember that?
Yeah. I
Was that on
love
charity
that
season?
that Chock is just obsessed with that
Yeah.
pool. It's gonna do him in.
Guys, did you not see there's a pool out there and we can get in the waters? I've imbibed water from that
Bathe
pool.
yourself in the. So have I.
Yeah, we did it. We're immortal now. Strip teasing, dancing,
Bathe
vineyards.
yourself in the immortal waters.
We get sports cars, jets, Vegas.
Jack.
Joan, love level force, Mark in the promo. Ponder shots, guilt, tears, beautiful shot of her walking by an infinity pool above the clouds. Joan doesn't know if she's going to be ready for love. Gary comes back. He asks if she's considered the possibility that her guy isn't there. Tears. She doesn't have to mourn the rest of her life. Fake snow dates. Someone isn't over his wife. Guy, love level fours her. Mark sees his wife in a hummingbird, but she's a butterfly, Mark. Prom king and queen. Islands. Joan feels lucky. She's only been in love with one person, more than one now. And that's it. Absolutely a beautiful, stunning first episode. I just, the golden product is just much better than the regular product. There's no other way to say it.
1000%. I felt cleansed of the last season when I watched this, and
I did too.
And I have no notes, really. I thought it was a perfect document. I cannot wait for the rest of the season. Just this blew me away.
I agree. Totally agree. I hope that we can, as a fandom, somehow the show has to change what it's doing. In the meantime, for me personally, as somebody who will watch every season of the show regardless, I attempt to focus on the good things, even from Jen's season. Like, I will try to force myself to remember that season for being about Jen as the first Asian Bachelorette and Jen as the first Bachelorette to ever propose. Those are the things that I will take from it with me to the grave, and the rest of the shit, hopefully,
won't make
will
the
fall
montage.
by the wayside. Exactly. But I'm very excited to cover this season. We, of course, have our watch parties at 33 Taps in downtown Los Angeles if you want to join us on Wednesday nights. Love to have you out there. We play games, do trivia, show historic clips, et cetera, et cetera. But yeah, this season looks like it's going to be fantastic.
Look, I'm still trying to find a location for Golden.
Yeah.
In Minneapolis, aka almost the north.
Who was your MVP, by the way, Pace Guys?
For completely entertaining me this entire episode, Jack was my MVP. I'm worried for him. I'm worried for his cannonball play. Coming back to bite him, but I thought he was electric and I agree. I just can't see him not getting some sort of show from this.
I totally agree. Hey guys, check me out. Cannonball. I love Jack.
I don't think he's ring winner. I think his chance of ring winner is 0%.
I agree. I loved him. I simply don't think he set up a convincing arc that can put him in either crown or ring contention. So,
absolutely not.
For that reason, Pascal was my MVP. I think he did a very similar, entertaining with a funny accent and just funny commentary. But I thought that he did a better job at playing the game. I believe he may make it to playoffs. I agree with you about Jack. I don't think Jack's playoff bound.
Definitely. My predictions for playoffs now are Pascal, Jonathan. Oh gosh.
Chock.
Yes. Chock.
I can see
Keith.
Chock. Interesting. All right. Well, we'll see where it winds up. Thank you everyone for joining us. And we hope you enjoyed Golden Bachelorette as much as we did. And we'll be back on Friday with This Week in Bachelor Nation, covering all the news and breaking down everything that's happened for the past couple of weeks in the nation. So we hope you will join us for that.
I can't wait to cover this one with you. clues,
Same.
despite all of the slanderous things that you've been saying about Dark Lord Palmer. Praise be Dark Lord Palmer.
Please rate this podcast. Please review this podcast. Please get a friend to listen to us. And then please rate this podcast. Please review this podcast.